people. Those are the types of things that, something short of a full-blown listserv, if we get questions and they're of general and broad interest, we are more than happy to kind of find the answers and distribute them out through whatever groups we can and whatever avenues that we have.
We also have, and it's not being run through the village, but it's being run through the various neighborhood associations, is a program called Nextdoor. And that is online right now, and it's really neighborhoods taking advantage of resources within the neighborhood. So people always ask for recommendations, post questions, and as a part of the, to register, you have to put your name and also your address. So it's limited to people who are within the neighborhood. So, for example, I'm in Upper Wyoming. When I have questions, it's already registered Sheena column, where I am on Harding. I post the question, and in my neighborhood association, there's about 150 people online so far, and that's how I get answers. Again, that's nextdoor.com, and people can register there to take advantage of the neighborhoods that have E-list serves that they're using. Another question?
Yeah, this whole problem of computers has led SOS to try to work with the high school and with Seton Hall to teach everybody how to get an email account and how to open it, how to read it, how to answer it. So far, we have collected 208 names of seniors in town, but we really have mostly phone numbers and addresses. One of the things that we're very invested in is the surveys that were at your table so that we can contact you. We would love it not to be through phone. So the library right now offers computer classes, but we'd like to have one-on-one instruction, and we're actively involved in that. Don't be afraid of the computer. It never eats you. Never.
Do you have your hand up?
Hi, my name is Juanita Martin, and first I want to thank you for having this event on the weekend so I can finally make it. I've been in South Orange for 10 years now, and I absolutely love it. And just to talk about the outreach and, finding information, I found that there's no consistent place to find that. I find out things through the patch, through maybe Wood Online about South Orange. And if there was just one local place that we could find all that information, I think it would help a great deal. I have a few things. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is the empty shops that are in town and short-term usage. There are several artists that would love to get into a shop like for 3 months, let's say, do a collaborative and actually provide income to the shop owner short-term while it's not being rented. Just an idea to throw that out. And the last thing is a senior health fair. I haven't seen anything like that here, but I volunteer in other areas and find that a lot. Would love to see it here.
Yeah, we do, and actually it was in September, I believe. It's a health fair. It does have quite a bit of outreach to seniors, blood pressure screenings, hypertension screenings. And to your other point, certainly we're in the process of compiling and putting together a new website, and certainly I think we will take to heart the possibility of having a page on there dedicated to all things senior and to be that sort of single source. Again, that gets to the same question of computers and computer access, and you can't get to the website unless you get a computer. Echoing the point earlier, we would certainly encourage, and the village supports and would continue to support the library's efforts to provide classes, to provide computers, available to anyone who wants to use them. And to your last point, it's interesting, and it's actually been proposed, although I don't think it ever got to the point of fruition, but it's certainly not in our interest to have empty storefronts, and if there's an opportunity to, have an art exhibit or something in there, I think we'd be receptive to looking at that.
Okay, next question. Yes, ma'am. Question or comment?
I have taken some of the computer courses, and I commend you for that. However, I do want to remind you that computers cost and are costly and do not fit into everybody's budget. And again, recently I was helping somebody with the recall issue with the GM, and that is not a friendly website at all. So perhaps at the library or something, when there is a big kind of recall or with the health program, perhaps there could be a volunteer to assist people.
I also wanted to welcome Melissa Kopecki. Melissa is the director of our library, and she'll hopefully be able to provide a few answers to that.
Well, and the more ideas we get from people, the better we do. So we do have computer classes, we have computers available, we have laptops available that you can borrow in the library, and there's always a staff member who can help you work through a process. We're incredibly lucky now to have senior services, Marion, working out of the library, so she can do a lot of one-on-one with people with complicated forms that she's very used to and does a wonderful job. But anything that needs to be done online, information that needs to be found, or some kind of process that needs to be completed online, we always have somebody available to work with you one-on-one. If you need a laptop to use while you're in the building, you prefer that to a public computer because you need to, be there for a large chunk of the day, we have that available. I mean, all anybody has to do is come in and explain what they need. I don't want anybody ever to walk in and feel like, oh, I don't see what I need. Please talk to the staff. We work really hard on doing one-on-one service. So, and certainly any ideas you have about how we could improve access or services to seniors, you can talk to me anytime. You can speak up right now. You can walk in and talk to absolutely anybody or just ask to speak to the director. So we pride ourselves on being flexible, so give us some new ideas. We'd be delighted.
Great. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Rose Gilbert. I'm a trustee of the South Orange Maplewood Adult School, and I will remind you that we have classes every semester, some particularly aimed at seniors who are dealing with computers for the first time. I can't promise you that you'll come away literate, but you will at least understand. And I would urge you to look at the catalog that's open and will be opening for the second semester.
You have information available right outside the door? Yes, this is one of the South Orange Maplewood Adult School. They are one of the vendors here today, so for more information, the catalog, they're located right outside the door. Just a reminder for anybody who needs to use the restrooms, they're literally right adjacent to where I am. If you go out these doors and take a left, they're available there. Next question?
Hi, Jackie Herships again. This is a library question. I started receiving the Buzz this year, and I think it's a wonderful, helpful publication. I'm wondering if it could be made available through the library. When I've gone to look for it, I haven't been able to find it. And I've been telling friends about it, and it's a little difficult to get if you're not in the loop and on the list. So that would be extremely helpful.
We do always have some copies, and the Buzz is actually produced out of the rec department. Thank you, Kate. It's a great partnership. So we're trying to build the email list if you do prefer things electronically instead of having the paper copy. Please make sure someone has your email address so it can get added to the Buzz list. It also gets mailed out to people on a mailing list. So maybe we don't keep enough copies in the library. We always have an electronic version in the library. So if you asked, we could print it for you right then and there. And we'll try to keep more copies laying around.
Good afternoon. My name is Harold Colton Max. I'm one of the members of the South Orange Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. I did want to respond to two different things that I heard recently with some information I thought might be useful. One of those, the more recent one, was regarding a senior citizen health fair. I just wanted those people here to know that actually we have a representative here today from Essex County, Isaac Verrett, who's here from the Division of Senior Services. And I wanted to just make sure I mentioned that Essex County actually hosts a senior citizen health fair at the Cody Arena. They've been doing that for the last few years. And they just held their last one actually September 23rd, is that right? September 23rd. So they do hold that annually. If you'd like to talk to Isaac afterwards, he could tell you about what the things are that they did there, but a lot of the types of things I think people are asking about are the things they do there. Maybe if there's enough demand, they might do it more frequently, who knows? So, so let him know if that's your interest. The second thing is that there was a question raised before about housing for those people who are of limited income. When I'm not being a member of the South Orange Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, my day job involves being the CEO of a group called the Jewish Community Housing Corporation. We happen to have a table here today. I just wanted to make mention that there are actually 2 facilities, both of which we own and manage, here in the township, which serve senior citizens. One of them is located at 219 South Orange Avenue, the other at 110 Vos Avenue. The one at 219 South Orange Avenue is actually what you would call affordable housing. The rents are actually, you have to be below a certain level of income, and the rents are set at a little under, basically 30% of the income of the particular household. So, in fact, for those people who are living on a limited income, the rent would be set accordingly so that they would have enough funds in order to pay for their other needs. The building is located on 110 Vos Avenue, is not affordable housing per se, but the rents are set fairly reasonably. And I should add, there's also right now, there's another program that's located there, which is called the Charles Bierman Home Program, that's run by an agency called the Daughters of Israel. And the Charles Bierman Home Program also has units there as well. They provide slightly more, a higher level of services than we do. It's a little bit more expensive, but I know that they are, they have perhaps some available units right now. So I just wanted to let people know that there is, in fact, some housing within the township. I don't mean to suggest that what we provide is adequate to meet all the need that exists, and we'd be happy to work with the township on trying to do more in that regard. But at least I wanted to know that the township is very supportive, and the township has been there to make sure that at least this much housing is available for senior citizens, and at least a portion of which is specifically set aside for people who have a more limited income.
More questions? Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know who is a liaison between Seton Hall and the township, because I'm surrounded with Seton Hall students and sometimes it gets a little unwieldy.
We would certainly, and I can't see it, there is liaisons in terms of various subjects with Seton Hall as it relates to specifically student housing and any impact or negative impact you're having. I would encourage you, by all means, call my office and code enforcement, and we're happy to look into it. If it's an immediate middle of the night situation, then certainly call the police department if there's an ongoing situation. But if it's a chronic thing regarding behavior and what things are doing, we're happy to help you. I would start with my office, and I'll put you, depending on what the nature of the complaint is, we'll make sure and connect you with the right department.
So maybe if you can stay after this portion and just get Mr. Lewis's business card. We do have government relations liaisons to the village, so when issues are brought up in the community, we work directly with them and they navigate the channels on campus to get it resolved. Next question.
It's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I know that there is a social center at Baird, which I believe runs programs for the seniors during the day, during the week. I don't know how many times a week. But we don't have a central senior citizen, I'm going to call it a drop-in lounge, for lack of a better description. I believe there are venues available in town, in particular, the old library building on the corner of Taylor and Scotland Road. Currently, that building is being, to the best of my knowledge, donated through the library for the use of EYES, which is the volunteer organization that does reading for the blind. And Sherry DeRose back here is the secretary administrator for that. I noticed that the upstairs of that building, they started to do some renovations for eyes in particular to have more modernized booths for the recorded readings. If that could somehow, I don't know who the powers to be are regarding that, but if that could somehow come to fruition, where eyes could actually utilize that upstairs space, which appears to be much more modern setup, and the downstairs area, which used to be the old library, is a marvelous old, 2 huge living rooms. We could have a place just to gather, to drop in on a weekend or an evening, to socialize, watch a movie, board games, card games, whatever. Just a place for seniors to be able to drop in and socialize that's centrally located in the center of town as opposed to all the way over at Baird. And I just would like that addressed if anybody's interested in pursuing that. Thank you.
Could we perhaps go over some of the Baird offerings that exist today for those who are unfamiliar with it? Kate Schmidt.
Good afternoon. There's some organized programming at the Baird for mature adults. We have some senior fitness, but there is more in the way of kind of drop-in, and Diane may be able to better address this. But there is the Senior Circle Group, which is a private social group of seniors that meets there once a month. They have a luncheon and they plan special events and mall trips and things like that. They kind of operate out of the Baird. There is also a group of people that meets there to play mahjong and cards once a week, and it really is just a drop-in. Diane, what day is that?
Well, Tuesday morning is the knitters. There's very few knitters right now. There used to be a large group. In the afternoon, they play cards starting at 12:30. Mahjong, there's a group of 4 or 5 ladies that come on Tuesday afternoons. The senior fitness is a paid class, it's $6 per class on Wednesday and Friday morning for 45 minutes from 10:15 to 11. It's the first Thursday of every month from 10:15 to 12 is a guided art class that you just follow instruction. And then the third Thursday is the Senior Circle Luncheon meeting that starts at 11 o'clock. They have guest speakers and they have different luncheons. That's the Senior Circle Club that meets at our building. And about maybe 3 years ago, we had a room for the seniors so that they could come and meet, so that they had a place to meet at the Baird instead of going to each other's homes. And we had that for just under a year, but it wasn't used by the seniors. They asked for it and we provided it for them, and then they didn't come and use the room. So, but we would love to have you there. We still have rooms, so.
There is certainly space there during the day. Our building, we have a preschool there, and there's a variety of things that go on there during the day, but there is certainly lots of open and empty space for people, who would like to use a space to meet their friends, have coffee, things like that, but we do not have a specific senior center, to your point.
Just briefly to follow up too, as far as the Connect building, it's historically designated the village, working with Melissa Kopecki. We were fortunately just received a grant from Essex County Historic Preservation Fund and just awarded a contract with the architect. The first step is to redo the roof. It leaks all over the place. So that work, the architect contract was awarded. We would expect the roof work to be done in the spring. There will be some additional efforts to obtain funding, and I know the library is really looking at how to reprogram that space once it's all brought up to speed. And certainly I think that's what part of this forum is about, and the feedback. And I, again, encourage everyone to fill out the survey either now, or if later you want to fill it out and mail it in or drop it off. Because one of the things, if we can gauge, and if there is real desire and how much is the interest in having a senior center, then certainly that can inform our decision-making and our prioritization of resources. And we would welcome your feedback. So again, I would just encourage everybody to fill out the survey. This grant is strictly related to the roof, because that was the first step in, to get the roof and get it watertight. We are, again, continuing to explore funding, both grant opportunities, private donation type funding, and factoring the whole thing into the village's long-term capital plans to redo the building.
Does that include getting heat for the building?
We are aware that, the furnace is definitely we're pursuing one grant opportunity. I'm not sure if that's going to pan out, but we will definitely get the furnace up and working and have heat before the winter.
So we have about 15 minutes left in this portion of our agenda. After we finish up here at 4:15, everybody's going to stay, make themselves available. So if you have questions that you don't want to ask during the forum section, you'll be able to speak to the different department heads, the Board of Trustees. Also, a lot of the information that you're hearing from the village, even our recreation department, is right outside in the foyer. There's info on the programming, etc. So make sure you grab all that information before the day is over.
Yeah, I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
question. Please don't leave without leaving your surveys. And I want to know what's happening with the old courthouse, the courtroom. Could that be turned into a senior center?
The courtroom is actually, it's in the police headquarters, and we're actually on the cusp of awarding a contract to an architect to take a comprehensive look at our police headquarters. Honestly, I'm not sure how suitable that would be, and I do think our police department has space needs of their own. But I think between a lot of the facilities we have, I think there's available space. So certainly if the surveys, the more we hear loud and clear that you'd like a center, I think that's going to drive us to make sure we find a center. And I think this also ties into something I referenced earlier with Mr. Hartwijk and the parking authority and the jitney service and the senior service and what type of transportation, senior transportation, and because certainly depending on where the location of the center ultimately would be, if it's close to your house, that's great. If it's farther from your house, it's not. So if that can factor in with the transportation services as well.
One thing I want to add real quickly also is that you have notepads in front of you, generously donated by home caregivers. But if you are uncomfortable asking a question right now and would like to write one down and just raise your hand, I'm happy to come pick it up from you and read it. We have another one in the back.
Yeah, I hesitated to speak because I'm a member of the advisory committee, and really our role is just as with the trustees, is just to listen to what residents have to say. But I figured, what the heck, because I've lived here practically all my life. I'm a native of South Orange. So I just want to mention how qualitatively and quantitatively seniors contribute to South Orange. And the fact that we're not retaining our senior population. We've lost 20% in the last 14 years. There's other statistics that of 3 people age 60, two of the three will have left South Orange before they turn 70. So qualitatively, first of all, seniors have deep roots in South Orange. Whether it's civic organization, churches. I know if any pastor were here right now, he'd tell you that they represent a larger proportion of their congregation than most other age groups. That's just to cite one contribution or a way that seniors sustain good faith efforts, good service efforts in South Orange. Quantitatively, every time, and most seniors, majority of seniors live in single-family homes. Every time a senior leaves and a family comes in, which is basically what's happening with children, there's really a loss quantitatively. Retaining seniors would be it's not an entitlement issue, would be of great benefit to South Orange. There are other communities that and even counties that are aware of this. It's not a question of not supporting the schools or loving school children. I work in the school system. But it's a question of balance, that we're a community. that the aged need the young and the young need the aged, especially so in South Orange. I don't think the enrollment increases are sustainable. I don't think it's a good foundation for our community. And I would make the argument that less money then goes to the kids presently our school with enrollment increases that eventually mean a building expansion as we've seen with Maplewood Middle School. So it's not an us versus them thing, it's a community thing. And seniors have a lot to contribute, and this premature exodus of seniors has been going on for some time. All those people that have left in quiet frustration are not here to talk about it. And with the deep roots, they want to stay here, many of them do want to stay here. I'll leave it at that.
Thanks, Greg. In the back, Barry, right behind you.
Yes, my name is Isaac Durrett, as Max said. I'm with the Essex County Division of Senior Services, now known as the Aging and Disability Resource Connection. And any program that you all are lacking here, the county is backup for you. So if you have no community center to go to, we do have transportation to get you to where you need to go. The transportation is free. I know that the casinos are closing and some have closed. That's where most of our transportation money came from. But the monies are still there, and we do offer free transportation. We do have outside of your community, I know this is a South Orange Senior Forum, but we have locations throughout the county where you can go and you're free to go with the transportation and get the services that you need. Now, as you all know, this month until December is open enrollment for Medicaid and Medicare. And you all need to start changing or looking at your insurances or readjusting your insurances. And you're gonna need help. Mrs. Rothman can't do it by herself. The county is here to help you with that. And many other programs that are out here, the county is here to assist you. We want you to stay in your homes as long as possible, and we want to make sure that you're comfortable in your homes as long as possible. So before you leave today, stop by to see me. I got the striped shirt on, and I have yellow bags for you with information that you may find conducive to your needs. Thank you.
Thank you. More questions? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know if the seniors have any information or any cooperation with New Jersey Transit, because I go to Maplewood very often, and I cannot come back from Maplewood to South Orange. I live in South Orange. I used to live in Maplewood, and I still use a lot of services in Maplewood, such as the movies, for example, and different various restaurants. I cannot get up on the train from the Maplewood station, and I know I am not the only one that has this problem. They have what they call the Maplewood Bend, and the train is, the first step is extremely high, and I cannot get on it. I cannot understand, I've approached this question very often by email and everything to New Jersey Transit. They tell me that the conductors are not allowed to touch the passengers when they're going up and down because they can be sued. I cannot understand with all the technology we have that they cannot have a step that goes down for the senior citizens, at least in one car. Maplewood does not have the, the station that like we have here in South Orange. And also in South Orange, I use the train, I still work, and I use the train from South Orange to Broad Street Station every single day. I have had to tell the conductor on the train that I use, and they have been very cooperative, to please come on the platform where it is flat so I can just get on the train. But it seems that it's not just a done thing. You have to ask them, you have to tell them. I don't understand it. Now, Maplewood does not have any flat surfaces that you can get on. And this has been a tremendous hardship for me. When I go to Maplewood, I backtrack, take the train, which is getting difficult for me to even get here up in South Orange at times. I take it all the way to Summit and then backtrack to South Orange.
Thank you. Mr. Lewis, can you speak to the relationship with New Jersey Transit? And that's certainly something that the Board of Trustees can follow up on. And then I also wanted to turn it back over to Mark Hartwick to talk a little bit about some of the work that the South Orange Parking Authority is working on to provide jitney services for our senior citizens. And I know as a part of that calendar, Maplewood Village is a part of the stops. So, Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, generally, we have a very good relationship with Transit. They've been tremendous partners, and certainly lately, they've shown a willingness to work and address concerns. I was not aware of the concern the lady just raised, but we will certainly pass that along. In terms of the Maplewood station, I don't know the particulars of how it's designed and what they can do, but we're happy to advocate on your behalf to do, encourage them to do whatever they can do to make the trains more accessible.
And can you allow Mark to speak a little bit to the schedules that he's working on?
No. Again, I'd just like to thank all of you for coming today. It's nice of you to come. I wanted to thank Nan and Peggy and Rhonda, Tanya. They spent an afternoon with me and gave me a lot of feedback on issues and concerns. And I've also heard from the partners, the Parking Authority, which is primarily the Recreation Department. We run the senior citizen jitney service. We have been running it for the last 12 years. We administer it on behalf of the village. It has been running consistently Tuesday through Fridays on a regular route through town. Any of you who have been utilizing that service are very familiar with Raul, who's the bus driver and has been for the last 12 years. Based on the feedback that we've been receiving over the last few months from these meetings, we're close to launching the service 5 days a week. We're going to start running it Mondays, which was one of the primary requests. Pathmark has a discount day on Mondays for seniors who go to that supermarket. We also have plans to broaden the service, take it for the first time out of town on a regular basis. What we're hoping to launch, and you'll know when this happens in the next few weeks, we'll advise everyone, that on Wednesdays there's been a request for trips to the Essex Green Shopping Plaza for the ShopRite and the Macy's and the various stores that are there and the movie theater. So we're hoping to work that into a regular schedule every Wednesday in the AM hours. And then we'll run the regular route in the afternoons. And on Mondays, each Monday of the month will be something a little bit different. On one Monday, we'll be going downtown to Maplewood for folks who want to get out and walk the Maplewood streets and go to King's, shops or restaurants of their choice. On the succeeding Mondays, we're going to be going over to the Target and to the Whole Foods store. And then Diane will continue to book the mall trips, which will be a mall of the month trip, typically on the third or fourth Monday of the month. And then the fourth Monday will just be a regular service day. But we have listened, we have heard that the service needs to be upgraded and expanded, and we're about to do that. So I'm happy to announce that here. Hopefully by the 1st of December, if not sooner.
Dan Cohen from the Rescue Squad.
Hello.
I'm Dan Cohen from the South Orange Rescue Squad, as Mr. Lewis mentioned before. Hopefully we won't meet under any official circumstances, but one thing I wanted to point out, there's a lot of material out there. One of the things that's out there are File of Life cards, and what that is something that we're trying to get out to as many people as possible. It's little cards you fill out with all your information, your health information, your allergies, your medications, anything like that. So if there is an emergency in your house, most people put them on the refrigerator, they're magnetic, or some people put them in the inside door of the refrigerator. We can come right in and we have all your information. We don't need to try and be detectives to figure a lot of things out. So on your way out, if you can grab one of the File of Life things that are on the table out there, open them up and fill them out, that would help us and help you. Thanks.
We do have a concern, and Tony, perhaps this is for you, is the bushes and trees at the curb of Wyoming and Lenox. The village has an ordinance on the books that the shrubs need to be trimmed back so that drivers are sufficiently able to see drivers coming in an adjacent direction. And then also another comment that seniors have a very large tax burden and have to leave, unfortunately.
As it relates to the hedges, we do have an ordinance on the books that requires certain sight lines. Obviously, we certainly encourage voluntary compliance and like to get the word out to properties and property owners who may not realize the impact. We will be, and it's really started to rise up as an issue. Currently, we have an ordinance on the books that the police department is the one that enforces that. We are looking at exploring sort of expanding the jurisdiction to also allow code enforcement to do that. We would encourage you, we have a recently launched application called South Orange Connect for those of you that are online. That is one of the things that you can report. You go online, there's a link off our website. If you are not online, then by all means call us, call code enforcement, call the police department, let us know where that particular intersection is, where the hedges are blocking the sites, and we will do everything, again, within our power to encourage voluntary compliance, and if we have to use enforcement, we'll use that as well.
Okay, we are at our 4:15 deadline, so why don't we just allow the last remaining questions? Oh, yes, ma'am.
With reference to the drop-in center, I think this is opening a can of worms, but have you considered the old stone house?
I think the board will take that under consideration. Trustee Deborah Davis-Ford? Is there any other questions or comments? Oh, yes, absolutely. So when you came in, there's a welcome table where you hopefully signed in and you picked up your badges. If you could please fill out this survey. It's so critical for us to get this feedback from you. And once you're complete with it, please bring it back to that table where there will be some volunteers. Just a few housekeeping items. Obviously, we have a lot of food still left. Nkosi Cafe did a wonderful job, but if you'd like to grab anything, please feel free to take any of the food that's still here. We also have crumb cake in the back. We will be open here from 4:15 to 5 o'clock. So all the vendors that you heard from, all their information, the services that they said were available, please take advantage of meeting and greeting with all these various organizations and businesses. All of our departments, from public safety through recreation, the library, all that information is right outside in the foyer. So a lot of those services that you heard from our fantastic employees, get the information. There are bags available at the welcome table, courtesy of Ashley Marketplace, so I know there's a lot of stuff to carry. Feel free to take one of those bags. And with that said, I just want to thank everyone. This was really eye-opening for us. I know the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee has a lot of information that they can work from, and hopefully if you were able to sign in, whether it was with email or a phone number, we can follow up with you as we plan for 2015 and how we as a village are going to take on some of these challenges. So again, thank you all for coming out today. Yes, hold on, one more.
I also wanted to remind everyone, if you want to join the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, applications, I believe you can go to the clerk's office or they're online at southorange.org. We meet the third Tuesday of every month. So if anyone would like to join the committee, you're more than welcome. We welcome everybody.
All right, thanks, everyone.